Restoring men in history. What is a friend? Single soul dwelling in two bodies, Aristotle said. The best thing to hold on to in life is each other, Audrey Hepburn. Today, one of our big focuses is male friendship to friendship, relationships. This can work for men and women. We don't want anybody to be lonely, isolated. So look, we're going to go over to this piece real quickly. On weekends, Federalist.com, Americans spend more time with screens than people. Not good, right? Tristan Justice, January 26, 2024. And it's not all that surprising. We've seen this. But this is not good, ladies and gentlemen, right? Now, one reason we bring men together is to also denigrate that, right? Defeat that. So we bring men together monthly. In a monthly group, the guys get to know each other. We build camaraderie. We smoke cigars. We have intellectual stimulation. We do history, talk about history, culture, politics. So, and then over the years, we build more and more camaraderie, right? That also helps defeat isolation and loneliness, right? So we do that. We take action on that. We don't just talk about it. We have men's groups. Let's go to the piece. An introvert economy has come to define America's post-lockdown culture. This is a problem when you start something. Be careful to stand peacefully when the government tries something. According to the Manhattan Institute's Allison Schrager and Bloomberg opinion, quote, the time at home made Americans less fun, Schrager reported Monday. Well, we kept smoking cigars and we kept going, right? So we had fun. See, we're the fun side. We're the fun party. We're the fun. Freedom party is the fun party. Come over to the freedom side if you want fun. So and if you don't, it's good for a totalitarian society for people not to get together, right? Cut off communication, isolate, have depressed people, have them sitting home on phones, screens. What's fun for you? What is fulfilling? Good fulfillment for me is meeting with these guys every month. We do it every month. Have cigars, have intellectual stimulation. 1-to-1, meet John Wilson or someone, talk 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, talking about life issues, businesses, goals, whatever it is, politics, history, philosophy, life. So you can have that. That's a great thing to have. Going on, in general, Americans are going out less, and odds are it will stick. Habits form, right? Well, there's a book on habit. But that's what a totalitarian government would like, right? Weak, isolated, depressed men, lonely men, isolated women. So sitting there alone, getting no information except from that screen, they can control that narrative, right? And then you get sad, depressed, isolated, lonely. And there are a lot of health effects. We're going to get to 3 different pieces here. There's some other pieces we're going to read. But we want you to have a fulfilling life with fulfilling relationships, deep relationships, male friendships. We always push male friendships for men, right? Get in a men's group for men. We want you women to have fulfilling relationships. And again, you guys can make each other better. But anyway, if you like this message, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit that like button, because that helps the algorithm. Going on in the piece, it's the youngest adults who are going out less, and when they do, it's earlier. Gen Z is shaping up to be the most sober generation in U.S. history, Schlager wrote. Singles are also, and this one's problematic, less likely to approach each other in public, preferring the anonymity and clear social boundaries of online meetings. So look, you guys, it's up to you if you want to ask a girl out to go up to her, okay? That takes courage. You can do it, but you need to be able to approach women. If you're at a cigar bar, you may have to initiate discussion if you want to make male friends and start talking about something if they feel like they're ready to talk. When making plans for the weekends, more Americans are trading real-life social interactions for what? For at-home digital entertainment. We don't like this trend. We want you getting out, meeting people. It defeats loneliness and isolation. Whether it be video games or television, according to Labor Department data Schrager cites. 2 actions to break this. You simply have to go out to a cigar bar and talk to a guy, or go somewhere where you're comfortable and meet a male friend. Or you can walk up to a pretty girl and ask her out, or a girl if you want, all right? So you can plan the date too and plan that. Men, so you can see the chart, less time with each other and more screen time. That's not where we want it to go. We want it to go the opposite direction, right? We don't want more screen time. We want more people time. So listen to this, USA Today. Americans are lonely and it's what? Killing them. How the U.S. can combat this new epidemic. Adriana Rodriguez, USA Today. The U.S. Surgeon General's advisory report, she writes up, found that loneliness increases the risk of, get this, it's pretty large, men, premature death and women. Look, it's for both you, ladies and gentlemen. Death by 26% and isolation by 29%. We've got another study coming out that it's worse than that. Murthy said, in terms of your lifespan. So how many more years would you like to live? This can increase your lifespan. He goes on to continue, loneliness, and get how dangerous loneliness is equivalent to, get this, smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. Let it sink in. We don't want women to be lonely. We don't want men to be lonely. Your followers won't fulfill you, ladies. Feeling lonely also increases a person's risk of heart disease by 29% and the risk of stroke by 32%, according to the American Heart Association. Get that number. Again, from the USA Today, social media has accelerated loneliness, not a shock, not a surprise at all, as research shows feeling lonely is more common among what? Heavy users of these sites. No surprise. How many books are you reading? Although likes, in quotations, and followers may make a person feel good at the moment, they don't foster what? Genuine connectedness with other people. We want you to have genuine connectedness and real relationships and deep relationships. So for you women, a like, a follower won't be there for you. Harvard study found that 43% of young adults reported increases in loneliness since the outbreak of the pandemic. No surprise there. We predicted that. We said, if you shut this thing down, you're going to increase loneliness, depression, isolation, and suicide. Happen. Here's frontiersin.org, breaking the vicious cycle, the interplay between loneliness, metabolic illness, and mental health. 1, loneliness or perceived social isolation is the subjective feeling of a mismatch between what? One's desired and actual levels of social connection. 2, loneliness differs from social disconnection in that the latter is an objective measure of connectivity, while the former is a subjective state. Loneliness is widely recognized as a major risk factor for what? Morbidity, we just talked about it, and premature mortality. And get this, and here's this stat. By some estimates, lack of social connection, get this, ladies and gentlemen, increases the odds of death by as much as 50%. 50%, now think about that. Just by building deep friendships and relationships, you can live longer, maybe, right? From an evolutionary perspective, social connections are important for various survival-related behaviors, including foraging, protection against predation, and reproduction. Evolutionary pressures on social species have shaped our brains and endocrine systems, in part to promote cooperation and be reactive against social isolation. See how big this is? Huge, right? Accordingly, loneliness is thought to have evolved as an alarm signal akin to hunger or thirst. To seek out social contact, you promote what? Survival. While adaptive in acute settings, chronic activation of this stress response by prolonged feelings of social isolation or chronic loneliness, hereafter referred to as loneliness, has long-term cost. As such, loneliness acts as a chronic stressor. We don't need any more stress, right? On things we can fix, ladies and gentlemen. Immune and metabolic systems of the body, and leads to the chronic physical and mental diseases associated with social isolation. Look, this is big. Studies have associated loneliness with some of the most pressing public health challenges, namely the epidemics of chronic diseases like mental illness, metabolic syndrome, which includes hypertension, obesity, and insulin resistance. So look, you can be healthier with deep relationships. Loneliness is associated with increased risk of major depressive disorders, anxiety disorders. So a lot of people getting anxious, right? So the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, you can fix this, right? By getting out with people, by building deep relationships. Furthermore, we described how these physiological consequences of loneliness can lead to a further isolation and a vicious cycle. So you can go further and further down, right? To counteract consequences of loneliness, we suggest strategies and interventions that increase metabolic and mental resilience at an individual level, and argue that improving social connection is an effective public health strategy. Of course, we push you men to go out. We push you men to get in the men's groups, right? Back to the USA Today, and listen, this is maybe, one of my favorite things in this piece right here. Listen to we talk about this. You need friends and you need a group of men. You need deep male friendships. About half, and get this, and this is sad, about half reported that no one in the past few weeks had taken more than just a few minutes to ask how they were doing in a way that made them feel like the person genuinely cared. Now listen, when you do something, do it in a genuine way. Mean it. When you ask somebody how you doing, mean it. And do that. If you have good friends, ask them how their day is. How are they doing? And it might have a large impact. You could make a difference and have an impact by just saying this. How you doing today, Matt? How you doing today, Kurt? How you doing today, John? How's your day going? How are you? You okay? Check in. I check in with a bunch. Say, you okay? How you doing? Why? Because I care about those guys, right? They're good friends. So you can do it too, and you can have an impact and make a difference with that. And when you get together and you smoke cigars, you can ask them about their goals too and go beyond, right? Have a deep conversation with a good cigar, talk for hours. How your goals doing? What can I help with? How can you help your friends? We're here to help other people, right? We're here to especially help our good friends, right? So be a good friend first. You want good friends? Be a good friend. Pick good friends and pick good girlfriends, right? And if you pick a good friend, you're going to build a relationship, care. Going on. You can be surrounded by lots of people and you can have lots of followers or connections on social media, but not necessarily feel like you've got somebody who knows you or shows up for you in a crisis. So guys, you're going to be good friends with somebody and they need you in a crisis. Listen on that phone when they need you. That's happened. I've done it. I've sat on the phone for hours. You can do it. And it may mean the world to somebody. Okay? You sitting on the phone when somebody's having a problem and listening. And making that person know that you do understand that you get them, that you care. Think of if you know somebody genuinely cares about you, how that makes you feel. If we can genuinely care about our good friends and genuinely care about the people we're in relationships with, think about that. And be there for them when they need us. That's a way to change the world, right? You care about the people you love, you care about your friends, you can change the world with that. Who gets you and who do you know? How will it make somebody feel if you get them, if you understand them? How does it make you feel if somebody understands you, they get you? If you get your girlfriend and she gets you, if you get your good friend and she gets you, if you understand, you know, or if that person sends a text and you had just said that connection bond, right? Because you can have a great bond with both and increase each other, make each other better. Also, Americans are on the border, over the border, having less sex. The data also reflects an accelerated trend since lockdowns. More and more Americans are seduced by cheap dopamine hits from the couch. So dopamine hits from the couch over sex, over relationships, really is what that means, right? Americans emerge from government-mandated lockdowns feeling more isolated and more depressed. What do we work on? One reason we do, the men's groups, is I knew men didn't have friends, and so I wanted to start the first group. I knew we didn't have enough intellectual stimulation. That's another reason we started the groups. And I knew men needed to talk about ideas and something larger than themselves. Isolation and depression is a problem. We take action on that and try to help with it with our men's groups, okay? Not by talking about the problems there, by just getting together, having camaraderie, talking about history and talking about other subjects, talking about deep ideas. So we predicted that. We knew that was going to happen during the lockdowns. I said it. Hey, you can't shut the country down, isolate people. You're going to have suicides, loneliness, depression is just going to go up. Great for totalitarians. If you want to cut people off from communication, right? It's a military tactic, right? Cut the communication off. All right. They were left to cope with the comforts of Netflix and an easy stream of addictive, ready-to-eat, ultra-processed food. He goes into food here. According to the Shelby Report, a Georgia-based publication, this is interesting. Yeah, for the food and grocery industry. And get this, snack sales went on what? Up on meat? No. Cookies, crackers, chips, and jumped more than you think. How much do you think it jumped from 20 to 22? Mr. Jeff Snow, it jumped 10 billion. Are Americans happier as a result? Research published in 2021 suggests no, with study findings that indicate the rate of serious mental health issues such as depression and anxiety have more than doubled. Not a surprise at all, but they've doubled and we need to work on it. We need to make it better. We're here to make things better, right? That's why we want to have more men's groups. In May last year, a Gallup poll revealed Americans are more depressed than ever, with nearly 1 in 3 reporting a diagnosis at least once in their lifetime. It's okay. We can take action on it. We have a solution for this, right? We have the men's group. So recreational screen time also jumped among adults after lockdowns. So let's wrap this up pretty soon. Frontiersinn.org again. Higher frequency of experiences of collective effervescence or the sensation of shared sacredness and connection arising in group gatherings confers significant protection against loneliness. Well, that makes complete sense, right? Although originally conceived as arising from religious gatherings, it is now understood that collective effervescence is also commonly brought about by ubiquitous group experiences. So think about it. You get in a men's group and you go every year for years and years, how much camaraderie you're going to have. You can go to restoringmeninhistory.com to check out, find a group in your area. If we don't have one, we don't have groups everywhere, we can start one, or you can get in an online group. So what can you do besides that? Get out. Meet friends. Where are you going to meet friends? You take the initiative. If you have friends, ask them to get together. Go up to, call one of your male friends or text one of your male friends and say, hey man, let's meet Friday, 3 o'clock. You take the action. If there's a girl you're interested in, take the action. Say, hey, how about Friday or Saturday at 3? Look, you need social interaction. What else can you do? Get in a men's group. You don't want to get in one of ours, get in another men's group. It doesn't matter. Just get around other men. We want you to have friends and camaraderie and exchange ideas and develop your minds. We do the groups also to develop minds and intellectual stimulation, talking about history. If you like this message, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification button. We would appreciate it.